Welcome everyone. Today I'm bringing you the next DPS build, and that is going to be the Retribution Paladin. Retribution Paladin is obviously, Ret Pally is a builder spender spec that is based off of spending and gaining holy power. Just as a friendly reminder, guys, this is my opinion. This is not the end all be all. Some things based off of your stats or your playstyle may change up how you would actually go about some of these talents and some of these rotation builds. So this is more of a leaping off point. Feel free to leave a comment down below on anything that you have found that works better talent-wise or rotation-wise. The main thing is we're just trying to get information out to help people play this spec better. As a reminder, guys, I do stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Saturdays are typically a survival horror night. Links are down in the descriptions down below. And if you do enjoy this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button so you'll know when the next guide does go live. And I do plan on periodically updating these guides. For anything minor that changes, I will try to pin something down in the comments below, so still make sure that you're checking back for that. All right, guys, with that, let's go ahead and get into it and give you everything you need to know to play the Retribution Paladin in Shadowlands. Starting out with some of the strengths of the Ret Pally, they do have the best self-heal in the game with Lay on Hands. They have multiple survivability utilities with the auras and the blessings that they have, as well as they do very good single target and AoE burst damage. Some of the weaknesses of the Ret Pally is that they are very reliant on cooldowns to do most of their burst damage. Outside of Crusader, they're pretty weak on mobility. All right, so your stat priority for the Ret Pally is number 1 above all is going to be strength. Number 2 is going to be haste. And then after that, your critical strike, mastery, and versatility are very, very close. As always, guys, I do recommend that you do sim yourself over on raid bots, just so you know, based off of your stats, any of these things could balance one way or the other. All right, so as for your gems, you're going to go ahead and get the haste gems. That is going to be your quick jewel cluster. On your enchants, I like the chest to be the eternal stats. I just think getting a 30 boost to all stats is very beneficial. Gloves, you're going to go ahead and get the eternal strength because that is your primary stat. Rings are going to be the tenet of haste because that is your best secondary stat. Always make sure that you are using shadow core oil because that is very beneficial to your DPS. And then finally, on your weapon enchant, I would go with lightless forced for AoE and cleave. And then if you're wanting to do single target only, as always, sinful revelation. For your food, you want to get the Tenebus Crown Royal Aspect for the haste food. Otherwise, always gluttonous hedonism if you're in a raid setting. Potion will be the potion of spectral strength. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into your talent build. We will start off, as always, with the single target talent build first, and then afterwards, I will show you the difference with the AoE target build, and then I will put them at the end side by side so that you can see them, and then more toward the end of the video will be a thing specifically for Torghast. This talent build is not the set in stone. I think I'm going to switch up a couple of these things. Just some of these things I found to be a little bit better, but this is just the original talents I took coming into Shadowlands. All right, so level 15, Zeal is a judgment that empowers you with Holy Zeal, casting your next 3 auto attacks to occur 30% faster and deal an additional 41 holy damage. Righteous Verdict is your Templar's Verdict, increase the damage of your next Templar's Verdict by 15% for 6 seconds. And then your execution sentence, this is one where the hammer slowly falls, does a lot of damage as well. It does have a 1-minute cooldown. If you guys have watched my previous videos, you guys know that I love passive talents. And for this one, I am going to recommend Righteous Verdict. I just think it gives you the most uptime when you're using your Templar's Verdict to give it that kind of a little bit of a buff. AoE and cleave, basically, I would recommend Zeal. Okay, so level 25, you have the Fires of Justice, which reduces the cooldown in your Crusader Strike. Blade of Wrath, which is Art of War, resets the cooldown on Blade of Justice 100% more often and increases its damage by 25%. And Empyrean Power, which is the Crusader Strike, has a 15% chance to make your next Divine Storm free and 25% additional damage. For single target, I'm going to recommend Blade of Wrath, just because it does have the absolute opportunity to refresh and a 25% damage increase. As far as AoE goes, I'm going to recommend Empyrean Power. Very clearly, this one was for AoE. with your Divine Storm and causing additional damage. All right, so level 30, it is basically your choice depending on how you like to do your game style, how you like to play, whatever your preferences are. But Fist of Justice basically is each holy power spent reduces the remaining cooldown on your Hammer of Justice. Repentance is basically you do have a 15-second cooldown, and on certain types of mobs, you can basically CC them for up to a minute. And then Blinding Light is basically a 1.5 minute cooldown, where basically like a mass interrupt. Me personally, I'm going to go with Fist of Justice. Level 35 is another one that is going to be basically your choice. Multiple ones. Unbreakable Spirit gives you reduction in Divine Shield. Cavalier gives your Divine Steed 2 charges, which is really good for movement, and that is the one that I'm going to recommend. And then Eye for an Eye is a 1 minute cooldown, basically to help you decrease damage. All right, so level 40, I am going to recommend Divine Purpose. Again, I love passive talents, and this one is your holy power abilities have a 15% chance to make your next holy power ability free and deal 20% increased damage and healing. This is going to be recommended for both single target and AoE. Holy Avenger has a 3 minute cooldown, and Seraphim, which is a 45-second cooldown, is probably pretty good for maybe if you were to do Torghast or some type of big AoE type of stuff. But I think Divine Purpose overall wins out very easily for single target, cleave, and AoE. Right, so level 45, Healing Hands is basically reduces the cooldown on your Lay of Hands. Justicar's Vengeance, the focus is the holy energy to deliver a powerful weapon strike that deals 730 holy damage and restores health equal to the damage done. The damage increased by 50% when used against a stunned target. And then finally, Selfless Healer is your holy power spending abilities reduce the cast time of your next flash of light by 25%, and it increases its healing done by 10%, and it can stack up of 4 times. For me, I just think for both sides, AoE and single target, Selfless Healer is easily the way to go. I just like the fact that it stacks up to 4 times, which can basically make your flash of light heal an instant cast, reducing it by 100% cast time from here and there. And I just think that's very beneficial, especially with how much damage that goes out. All right, so level 50, you'd have some other choices. You have Crusade. Crusade is a 2 minute cooldown, and it replaces Avenging Wrath. The Final Reckoning is another minute cooldown, and basically calls down a big heavenly blast of energy. And then finally, the one that I'm going to go with, of course, is a passive ability, and that is Sanctified Wrath. It basically makes Avenging Wrath last 25% longer, and then your holy power causes you basically to explode and hit everything nearby. So for single target and AoE, I just think that this is very good lining up your cooldowns with Avenging Wrath. All right, so here is your side-by-side comparison for single target and AoE / cleave for your Mythic Plus. Left side is going to be single target, right side is going to be Mythic Plus and AoE recommended builds. All right, so let's go ahead and go through your rotation. The single target rotation and the multi-target rotation for the Ret Pally is actually very, very similar. So there's really only one thing you're going to change between your single target rotation and your AoE rotation, and I'll get to that at the end of the single target rotation. So first, go ahead and fire off your Avenging Wrath and hit that Templar's Verdict. Wake of Ashes, followed by Hammer of Wrath. Blade of Justice, followed by Judgment. Hit your Crusader Strike. If you've got 3 holy power, hit Templar's Verdict. Otherwise, go ahead and fire off another Crusader Strike. Then finally, Consecration. So the only difference that you're going to make in that rotation compared to your AoE and multi-target is that you're going to substitute Divine Storm for Templar's Verdict. Other than that, it's the exact same rotation. All right, so as far as Covenants and Soulbinds, again, this is based off of your playstyle. Most of these are pretty close. However, I do think that the Venthyr does seem to tend a little bit better for the Ret Pally, and that is what I would recommend. The Soulbind would be Theotar the Mad Duke. As far as your legendaries go, I recommend for single target and cleave or Badge of the Mad Paragon. And then for Mythic Plus and big AoE packs, Tempest of the Lightbringer is probably going to be the best right now. All right, and here is your talent build for Torghast. I recommend that you use Execution Sentence, Empyrean Power, Fist of Justice, Cavalier. Again, 30 and 35 are basically your choice. You can change it up if you want to. Divine Purpose at level 40. 45 healing hands, and 50 final reckoning. Execution sentence is just very, very good for Torghast with the number of mobs that come in. Imperium power is very good for AoE as you took in your AoE build. Once again, 30 and 35 are your choice. The increased damage from divine purpose is just a go-to choice here. Healing hands is very good here just because you do need that self-healing in Torghast, as it can get a little bit tougher as you hit to the higher levels. And final reckoning, I think, just works better in Torghast with the AoE effect, even though it does have that minute cooldown. All right, guys, so that is going to do it for the Retribution Paladin. Let me know down in the comments below, what builds are you guys having success with? What rotations are you guys finding a little bit better? If you guys found something with a hybrid that seems to be simming a little bit better, let us all know down here. We're all just wanting to get better. As always, guys, if you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn those notifications on so you know when the next video does go live. And remember, guys, that life is a circus. Enjoy that freak show, and I'll see you guys next time.